Okay, we're going to get started, everyone. It's a little after 6 at this time. City Attorney, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
City Clerk, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
City Manager?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Commissioner Everett?
Here.
Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin?
Present.
Sergeant at Arms, are you ready?
Present.
Thank you, sir. I call this City Commission Workshop a Tuesday, February the 12th, 2019 at 6:07 p.m. to order. May we please stand for the invocation given by Reverend Smart, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight. Thank you for the sunshine and the rain, the beautiful weather we've had here in Pahokee, and the rain that's coming now. We ask you to protect those that don't have a roof over their head and need some assistance. But Lord, as we come to this business meeting, we ask your blessings upon our commissioners and our mayor, all city officials. We ask you to help us to understand what is going on in the town of Pahokee. And be with us, protect us, in Christ's holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Babb,
Present.
Commissioner Everett, Commissioner Hill,
Present.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Present.
Commissioner Walker,
Present.
City Manager,
Here.
City Attorney,
Here.
Sergeant Taylor Dimon,
Yes, ma'am.
Interim City Clerk present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Reverend Smart, for the invocation. And thank each of you all for being here today to participate in our workshop of Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. The purpose of the workshop of the Pahokee City Commission this afternoon is being held to discuss the February 12th, 2019 agenda. At this time, I would turn this portion of the meeting over to our city manager to lead and guide us in the discussion of our agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor. Commission, good evening. Citizens, visitors, thanks for joining us tonight. Mayor, Commission, we have a short agenda this evening. We have no consent agenda, no ordinances or resolutions. We do have minutes to approve, one proclamation, audit committee, a review of audit committee applications for recommendation to be on the audit committee, a memo of powers and duties of the city manager, city clerk, and Marina lease update if there's any updates at all. And then there's no new business, no old business as well, Mayor. Please, as the commission, at this time, I can give a brief city manager update on some concerns or activities, shall I say, with the city of Pahokee.
That'll be fine, city manager.
Thank you. Mayor, Commission, I had an opportunity to be in Tallahassee last week. Had a very full agenda, had about 6 meetings concerning new legislative priorities for 2019. Some of those priorities focus on infrastructure development. Most of all of it is infrastructure improvements, actually, for the city of Pahokee. Had an opportunity to meet with the governor's budget and policy team, and had an opportunity to meet with Senator Gail Harrell. She's the Senate representative for this district where Pahokee sits. I had an opportunity to meet Chief of Staff with the FDOT for transportation road needs. I had an opportunity to meet also with Representative Polsky. She's actually the House representative for this district. And Representative Ration. Representative Ration is the chair of the Natural and Agricultural Subcommittee Appropriations. Very important committee when it comes to deciding where those appropriations are allocated to, doing conferencing for appropriations for the state budget. So it's a good day. It's a very long day, but we were represented well. Look forward to getting everybody up there for Palm Beach County Days and sort of securing what we've been able to work on over the last several months. So it was a good trip. I do plan to go back before Palm Beach County Days for a follow-up meeting with one or two of the appropriations chairs. Throughout the process, once all of our funding requests go into the mill, I call it the mill, which is the House and Senate appropriations departments. From that point, it's just lobbying meetings, more lobbying meetings, more lobbying meetings. And then at some point in the appropriations process, I would have to present some of these projects before the subcommittees on appropriations if they request and if they loan us that time in their meetings. So over the next several months, that is the legislative funding process in Tallahassee. It's a grind for the next couple of months, but we have to stay focused on our legislative requests because they can easily be deleted out of the legislative process along the way based on negotiations once conferencing starts. And typically conferencing for the budget, for the state budget, starts around the end of March, beginning of April, and it goes for several weeks until they reach May 1st or May 5th or whenever session ends. And then thereafter, there's another month of revisions, and then the governor signs the state budget. So there's a lot of work to do beyond just listing what we want as legislative priorities. There's a heavy lift with Representative Pahokee. She has a representative here tonight. Reverend Reese, thanks for being here. He understands there's a long process to the end of the road before we can get legislative appropriations approved for the glazed cities. And it takes everybody working in one direction to ensure that our priorities are still within the budget at the end of the process. So it's sort of like who has the last chair when the music stops when it comes to the appropriations process and all of the negotiations that go on over the next 120 days. 90 days actually. So good meetings in Tallahassee. Update on the city football field. Field Turf has submitted their final approval to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. Every time there's a disturbance of the soil of this magnitude, they have to get their final approval from DEP to ensure that everything is above board and they approve it. I think that went well. I had to sign an authorization release this morning to Field Turf to submit to DEP so they can move forward. So they should have clearance here to get started with the renovations of the football field here at the city, hopefully in the next week, maybe less than that. And then thereafter, they'll give us a final schedule and their mobilization will begin, and you'll see a lot of activity here at Parks and Recreations on the city football field. Demolition of Old City Hall. We had an opportunity to receive additional funding from SWA to demolish the old City Hall. We received 50% of that grant already, which means I can now develop my bid to go out for vendors to submit a proposal for demolition of the old City Hall. So we're excited to see that project come aboard here, probably in another 60 days, because we have to be out on the street for about 30 days with the bid itself. And then we have to take in the proposals and then grade those proposals and then submit a selection to this body for approval. So I'm estimating probably around April, mid-April to end of April, you'll see some activity around the old City Hall for beginning of the demolition of the old City Hall. And that's great news for the city of Pahokee because we own that land, that shovel-ready property that we can leverage for economic development for the future. So that's good news there. That's it, Mayor. I can hold the rest until my city manager's report.
Thank you, City Manager. City Commission, at this time, are there any questions that you would like to ask of the City Manager while we're in our workshop session?
Yes, I had a couple that came up while City Manager was, Mr. Williamson was stating his report. One of the things I do want to throw out there, and we may not have a well-informed answer to this question, but something worth bringing back up in our meeting, and that is the housing update with regards to the group that came to speak with us about housing. I know there was a nuance or two about the property was given to the city for municipal purposes only. There was a directive to go back and I guess do some homework, some study as to how we would be able to move forward with this group, because the commission did express excitement, enthusiasm about supporting and backing this effort of persons coming to try to generate some workforce type housing.
Well, I think the city attorney did contact the state in regards to exploring if we have an investment group that wants to take over the responsibility of developing housing with this particular piece of property. That was a general request to the state because we are looking at multiple organizations that are interested in housing. That's not the only organization that's interested in that piece of property, but I think the city attorney can expound on that a little better in his report. But we did inquire to the state of how that process will be laid out if we decide on whatever investment group that wanted to build housing, and we selected that particular entity to work with to provide them that property or that land. I don't know what the response was at this time from the state, but I'm going to waver on the side. It's going to probably flow sort of like the leases over at the Marina, that process of it going to the cabinet and being approved. I can let the city attorney expound on that a little bit more.
So
but it was a general inquiry to the state because we know we're going to get multiple investment groups interested in the same piece of property.
So we have more than one group that have expressed interest?
Yes.
How long have we known that?
Excuse me?
How long?
Well, we get multiple investment groups interested in our property all the time. I get phone calls on it all the time. It's just there's never any follow through with that. Once I receive a phone call, they've never come here and did a presentation. They've only just called me and asked about just general questions about the property. Where is it located? How many acres? Is it shovel ready, et cetera, et cetera. But nothing as concrete as the last group that came here. However, there is another housing group that has done housing in the Glaze, has recently completed a housing project. They've shown some major interest in the same piece of property, and they've been in business for 45 years. So, but they're not ready to bring their presentation to the commission. I've requested they do so, but they're not prepared yet, but they're very close. One of the main reasons why you're getting higher interest now is the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, has boosted this entire area. And when you hear the word boost, that means that they have taken liberty along a certain geographical area and they've boosted the tax credits for the area. And once an investor hears that, that's music to their ears, because that means they can profit at a higher rate if it's boosted by HUD. And that occurred probably the end of December, which started the conversation with this particular investment group wanting to show interest in coming to Pahokee. But again, they have not presented a formal presentation. We're certainly going to look forward to hearing from them, because we want to give everybody an opportunity to present to the commission on what they feel is best for the city of Pahokee.
Commissioner, I had requested a review of that site by the Division of State Lands, and they got back to me, indicated they were going to have to pull the information out of their archives because it goes all the way back to the 60s when that trustee's deed was initially given to the city. They haven't gotten back to me with any definitive response as to whether that property would be available for housing or under what terms. I'm expecting some information from them. So as soon as I get it, I'll pass it along to the commission.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, when I know it was given for municipal purposes, was it for utility type purposes?
Initially, it was for utility purposes.
Okay.
And the city had a utility operation there. Then when GUA was formed, it was assigned over to GUA. Then when the county bought out GUA, it was assigned to the county. And then the county decided they didn't need 34 acres of it and assigned that back to the city, which was all approved by the Division of State Lands. So now they're going to take a look and see whether or not it's even available for that use. And then, like I said, under what terms, whether they're going to require payment to the state for the land or appraisals. So we have to just follow through on that and see where they come back on that.
Okay. Because I guess I'm looking at what would be in the use. You know, I know it was dedicated for municipal purposes. The city no longer has its own utilities department. So, and, you know, consequently, it's their idle. So I just hope, you know, that they're side on the side of allowing us to do something else with it, such as housing, because housing is definitely a great need. Mr. Williamson, and thank you, Attorney, for that. Mr. Williamson, also in your report, I guess under the Marina update, could we kind of clear up some misnomers as it relates to the water bill in the Marina?
I'd like to see the attorney address that if you
Okay.
want to hear or add it
Sure.
on his report. It's up to him.
I'd be happy to, Commissioner. The water at the Marina campground has been an issue for a long time. Initially, as we just mentioned, that facility was served by the city with the water system. So the city had a lot of leeway in how they would treat the use of water up there and how they would charge for it. And as I just mentioned to you, the city water system went to GUA and then to the county. The county has much less flexibility when it comes to their water system. So they charge what's called a base facilities fee for every connection, for every meter. And that's charged whether or not a single drop of water is used from that meter. There are 112 different meters at the Marina. So their base facility charge, which I think is $30 or $40 a month per connection, builds up very rapidly. So over the years, that built up to a total of $265,000 that was not paid for water by any of the operators or the city at the Marina. So we went back to the county and we asked them to take a look at it. And the first thing they did was they calculated the amount of time where the lease at the Marina was under the operation of another entity, one of the lessees, because they were responsible for the utilities during their lease, not the city. So all that was deleted from the city's bill. What remains is $140,000 that the city owes to the county. It's not to the county in general, it's to the county's utility system. So the city or the county commission cannot waive that fee, because if they did, it would be a breach of their agreements with all their bondholders of all the revenue bonds that they've issued over the years. So the city has reduced it from $265 to $140. The city of Pahokee will have to pay that $140,000. It was never anticipated or presumed by anybody that I'm aware of that the leasee that we're talking with now would ever have to pay for back lease payments. And none of the drafts of any agreements ever provided for that. So the city will have to pay the $140,000. So the issue is when and how. The county's waiting for us to deliver a check to them for $140,000.
And how's that affecting the other connections that are up there? As we pay it down, are we afforded the usage of those 100+ connections that we have at the Marina campground?
The county has not cut off the water at
Okay.
any time to the Pahokee Marina, has not indicated any intention to do so in the future. Now, the future, going forward, $140,000 we're going to have to pay. That's just the end of the story. So, you know, the commission needs to direct your manager to come back with a recommendation on how to pay that and when to pay it.
And the question was not trying to get around paying the bill.
Oh, no.
That wasn't
Right.
the purpose of the question. The method of my madness is to try to clear up the
Yes.
misnomers
Absolutely.
that have gotten out in the community.
Okay, so
You know,
that's the bottom line. Now, going forward, let me explain where we're at. So you've got 112 connections and meters right now. So that means going forward, either the city or any leasee will have to pay a monthly charge for all 112 meters. A possible way to, and that amounts to, at a minimum, $2,500 a month. And like I said, that's without using a drop of water. Okay, so one possible way to reduce the amount that's owed each month is to install what they call a master meter. So you'd have one big master meter that would be installed that regulated all the water going into the marina. The individual campsites could still have a meter on them for purposes of the city monitoring the usage at each campsite. But from the county standpoint, they'd have one large meter, and you'd have to pay the one larger base facilities fee associated with that large meter each month. So we've started to look at how much the installation of that meter would cost and how much the monthly rate would be going forward. So that's where we stand as we speak today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So this wouldn't be a problem to future leases or?
Well, it's a cost. It's a cost. Right now, it'd be a minimum of $2,500 a month
Okay,
without using any water.
Not that.
And we're trying to lower that down.
okay.
Maybe during our regular commission meeting, we need to put forth a motion to direct the city manager to negotiate with the county to set up a payment plan to begin paying down that balance. And we need to do that as immediately as possible, come up with an amount that we can afford and that they would accept. But that's an outstanding balance that's been lingering long too far. In addition, a question for the city manager? Okay, at this time it's 6:30. I will adjourn our workshop and we'll reconvene our regular city commission meeting in 2 minutes. Thank you.
You can write that check, aren't you?
Hey,
Because even the committees, they're getting everything done. So that's okay. That's the. Okay, you want everything done.
Did the city attorney need us to wait on them?
No, you're right.
We're standing outside.
Oh, he meant
Let me get
yes,
some,
thank you.
let me get some tissue. I got
Yeah, we're talking about.
That's right. You never come on that. I see you always.
No biggie.
As soon as you
That's one.
City Attorney, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
City Clerk,
Yes, sir.
City Manager,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin, Sergeant at Arms.
Yes, sir.
I call this City Commission meeting of the City of Pahokee, regular commission meeting of Tuesday, February 12th, 2019, to order at 6:37 p.m. May we please stand for the invocation given by Pastor Dr. Robert Reese, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you would, Pastor Reese, allow Commissioner Walker to a moment to stand. Thank you.
Chair, right?
That's loud.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening, Lord, to say thank you. We're thankful to you for the privilege that you give to us to be born in a country, in a time where we can come before you freely, without fear or without boundaries. As we come, Father, we invoke your presence to be here among us. We acknowledge the fact that without you, we are nothing. And with you, we can do all things. We pray that you will guide the decisions and the hearts of these commissioners as they come to represent this community of Pahokee. We pray that everything they do be according to your will, that this community may thrive and be blessed by all the blessings that you can pour upon them. So we just thank you for this hour, and we pray your presence here and your blessings as well. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab,
Present.
Commissioner Everett,
Present.
Commissioner Hill,
Present?
Vice Mayor Mervin, Commissioner Walker,
Present.
City Manager,
Here.
City Attorney, Deputy Denman,
Present.
Interim City Clerk present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Dr. Robert Reese, for the invocation. And thank each of you all for being here tonight to participate in our regular scheduled commission meeting of Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. At this time, we'll follow the agenda as printed. The first order on the agenda is the additions, deletions, and approval of the agenda items.
Mayor, we have one addition, resolution 2019-06. Resolution 2019-06 as an addition. If there's any other addition or deletions, I'll entertain them at this time. That's all I have.
Okay. City Commissioners, any additional additions or deletions?
With regards to the Marina lease update, that's not really an addition. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'll entertain a motion for the adoption of the agenda with the one addition of Resolution 2019-06.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I'd like to offer a motion that we accept the addition of Resolution 2019-06 for our consideration and for our agenda on tonight.
Thank you, sir.
A second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin that we approve the agenda as presented with the one addition of Resolution 2019-06. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The agenda item passes by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to citizen comments. Agenda items only. You must have a comment card completed. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any citizen comment card completed pertaining to agenda items?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll move to our public service announcements. You also must have a public service comment card completed. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any public service comment card completed?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll move to the approval of the minutes. We have two workshops, both of January the 8th, 2019. Minutes, one was a commission concern workshop, and the other one was our regular commission workshop, January the 8th, 2018. I entertain a motion for the adoption of those two workshops.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to offer a motion that we accept the approval of minutes, January the 8th, 2019, workshop minutes addressing commission concerns. Also, January the 8th, 2019, workshop minutes.
A second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the adoption of both workshops of January the 8th, one pertaining to the commission concerns and one pertaining to our regular workshop agenda items. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
No.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion for the adoption of the workshops for January the 8th, 2018 passes by a majority of 41 vote. Now we'll move to our consent agenda items. We don't have any consent agenda items. Resolutions. We have an add-on resolution, Resolution 2019-06. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute the state-funded grant agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation. This is a grant agreement for $210,000 to help with residential roadways that are listed on Exhibit A in the backup.
Thank you, City Attorney. City Commissioners, having had Resolution 2019-06 properly read into the minutes, what's your pleasure?
President, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve the resolution 2019-06.
Second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Mervin and properly seconded by Commissioner Hill for the adoption of Resolution 2019-06. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Resolution 2019-06 passes by a unanimous vote. Now we'll move to our public hearing. We don't have any public hearing. We do have a proclamation. Proclamation, a tribute of appreciation to Reverend James White. City Attorney, could you read that into the record?
Mr. Mayor, the proclamation reads, whereas Reverend James W. White has faithfully pastored the United Missionary Baptist Church for 20 successful years, and whereas his pastorage began in Bryant, Florida, on the premises of U.S. Sugar Corporation, where housing and a church were made available for laborers to live and worship. When the corporation decided to close the village and church for further use, the United Missionary Baptists moved to Pahokee to continue their worship within our fair city. And whereas as pastor, Reverend White was chosen to be president of the Pahokee Canal Point Ministerial Alliance, where he led pastors of his community in coming together for the betterment of our citizens. And whereas Reverend White has overseen numerous farm share giveaways and has led city revivals, where churches and pastors throughout the city have joined together with their congregation to show unity in the community. And whereas Reverend White has led in the political arena by taking a stand to support candidates that would enhance the livelihood of the citizens of Pahokee. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, does hereby pay tribute to Reverend James W. White for 20 years of dedication and service rendered to United Missionary Baptist Church and this community, and also sends a heartfelt thank you for the honorable position in helping to make the city become the city of choice, which all the residents envision it to be.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. City Commissioners, having had the proclamation for the Reverend James White properly read into the minutes, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to offer a motion that we accept the proclamation, a tribute of appreciation for Reverend James White as read by our attorney.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin for the approval of the proclamation, a tribute to Reverend James White. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The proclamation passes by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to presentation. We don't have any presentation on the agenda tonight. And we're moving rapidly. The mayor's report. I attended a meeting last night at John Boer Auditorium in Clewiston in reference to the dike and water issues. Governor DeSantis, along with Congressman Brian Mass, have proposed to reduce the lake level to 10.5 feet, which is much too low. So several of us from the Pahokee community, along with a lot of Glades residents, attended that meeting. A few of us spoke, myself, Commissioner Vice Mayor Mervin, former Commissioner J.P. Sasser, and others on behalf of rejecting that proposal. I stated that this commission is unanimously opposed to lowering the lake level because none of our boats at the marina will be able to enter or exit the marina. In addition to that, if there ever was a drought, which is normally will be, the farmers won't be allowed or won't have the capacity to pump water to their crops. And that would necessitate the loss of jobs. So it was a well-attended. I thank the Pahokee community for coming out, supporting those issues and not allowing things to happen in our community that would give us a deficit, negative effect. Also attended the meeting this morning at the West Tech Education Center. They had a unveiling ceremony for their digital signage, which was also marking, which is also was well attended. That was a joint effort to get the West Tech bike up and running. So it was a opportunity to give and bring greetings from the city of Pahokee. Also, our city manager attended that meeting. And one of the things that we kind of discussed is Pahokee. That's something that we desire next in our city having a digital sign so our residents would know what's going on more handily in the city. We're really trying to be as transparent in this city as possible. I know sometimes there are events that happen and occur in our city, and it's not always on the marquee by just short notice. Sometimes staff may not put the information up there. So if you have the digital marquee, the information would constantly be up there in a timely manner. Just want to mention, just briefly, I think over the last 3 years, this city commission have done a lot. I know there are some criticism of our city and our commissioners, but again, we need to celebrate some of the success. Again, others are looking at us. They look at our comments on social media, and they criticize or frown upon a lot of negativism. I just want this community to work together in unity, and that don't mean agreeing all the time. That's almost possible. Even your mom or your wife or loved ones, you're never gonna agree with them all the time, but it's a respectful way we can do that. So if we don't do anything else, if we can just unite, and I know this is an election season, there are going to be criticism, rightfully so in some cases, but regardless of our differences, difference of opinion, we should all work together for one cause, and that's moving this city forward. I realize even with all of our success, people are still not satisfied, and one of the things they're not satisfied is affordable housing and decent housing. The city manager is aware of that. This commission is aware of that. That's some of the things that we're going to be working tirelessly on in this upcoming year to bring affordable housing and decent housing to Pahokee. We know another thing is just growth, economic development. Residents would like to see jobs created. They would like to see business growth, something built and developed. And we realize that. And I think over the last 3 years, we have been working on the foundation. And I think we have built a solid foundation. So in the future, you will see those type of things occur in this city if you work with us. And we're asking, again, for your patience and that you work with us in that endeavor. We unveiled a Ricky Jackson sign about a month ago. Ricky Jackson is a Hall of Famer, the only Hall of Fame in Palm Beach County. I initiated the request, not out of favoritism, but out of honoring him for his accomplishment on the football field. And in the very near future, there have been some conversation about Anquan Bowling, and he's right at the top of my list, and I'm quite sure this entire city commission list. I would like to honor him with a signage and a Anquan Bowling Day in Pahokee, that we can celebrate all of his contribution to the city of Pahokee. And not only Anquan, there are other professional athletes, regardless of what they have done for the city. We should honor them for their success and being able to move on and do good for their family, and hopefully return some of that success to our community. So it's not always about what a person have done for Pahokee, but we should honor people who have been successful. You know, that's part of our job, is to recognize individuals. And everybody can't be first. It's gonna be someone who was first in receiving the honor, but that don't mean we don't think that the others are not worthy of that honor. We will be getting around to honoring the majority of those athletes and others who have done outstanding work for our community. I talk about funding a lot and the money we have received. I mentioned sometime the $13 million that we have received in state funding, and I'm proud of that, and I will continue to mention it. Also, I need to mention, and I will continue to do that, what we're planning on doing in the future for our city to grow and prosper. But let's go back to the money just for a moment in my report. I talk about the $13 million, but I just want to mention to the residents, we spent $3.5 million on reconstructing East Main Street. 3.5. It wasn't a figure we wanted to pay, but to completely do that road, one of the worst roads in Pahokee, maybe not the worst, but it certainly was one of the worst, and it was directly in relationship to the school, which had to be completed. We also will be spending $4.6 million for Barfield Highway. Again, one of the worst roads in Pahokee. And why I mention that, if you add up those two roads, that's $8.1 million. So it ain't like we got a whole pile of money and folks are asking, well, where are the stores? Where's the building? Why are anything being built in Pahokee? We're improving the infrastructure. And one of the reasons that we don't have businesses, that's one of the things they look for, proper infrastructure. Again, that's going back to the foundation of what we're trying to do. But we understand the needs, we understand the challenge, and I think this commission, if we continue to work together, not always agree together, but work together, we will succeed. And you will see a transformation in the city of Pahokee. I also would like, and I think we already have made the recommendation and has been approved by the commission, that we do a proclamation for Julia Hale, who's a long-term housing authority director, and also George House for their retirement. Both of them have worked in public service for 30 years. We have Pastor James White here today. We'll be doing a proclamation for him. He celebrated his 20th pastoral year just last month, I believe. So we definitely want to honor him, and he's here along with his wife tonight. I would like to also, along with the Vice Mayor and the Commission, provide a breast cancer screening for our citizen. Hopefully we can get it done in March. Breast cancer screening, if you are diagnosed or detected to have breast cancer during that particular screening, all of your medical expense will be paid. So we're going to encourage the public, especially the ladies in our community, to take part in that. In addition to that, we would have a joint health fair that we will be providing some services for our community. Also, in addition to that, the Glades training program, they have scholarships for nursing program and other technical programs for our residents as a non-agricultural occupation. There have been very few applications submitted. So what we're trying to do by SAD is host a Q&A question and answer session. That particular entity would give a presentation on their program, and hopefully we have some young people in our community that would like to seek a job and a career to better their life and their condition. In addition to that, we're asking the trade union to come out. Electrical, plumbing, those fields pay a lot of money. I think last year we were successful in having about 100 applicants. I think we have about 30 young men currently hired just from the union presentation. So we're going to try to do both of those activities jointly, just SAD if possible. We're going to work really hard in making that happen. And that's conclude my mayor's report. We'll now move to the city manager report. City Manager Chandler.
Thank you, Mayor, Commission. Good evening, citizens, residents. visitors. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks, Mayor, for that brief description of the funding and the process of, I guess, you know, when you're not involved in government and you don't quite understand some of the processes that go into how funding is released to a city and how a project comes off the shelf, you always have a question about, you know, how is the money is expended, how it's released to a city. Most of the times it's not released to the city, it's held as that project takes place, then they release those funds intermittently, or better word, in phases. And so sometimes there's a question about, you know, that amount that you mentioned and where all the money go. And I always tell folks, just take a ride around town. If you ride long enough, you'll see a lot of these projects were completed. We have a couple more that are coming online, hopefully over the next 60 to 90 days, not connected to that 2017 haul of 4.2 or 3 million, I think, at that time. But we have some more significant projects that are coming on board that are already funded. We're not creating a new line item for them. They're already funded within those funding streams of grants and other appropriations. So we're excited about those projects. I said it before, that we've had a very successful 2.5 years here as far as addressing some of our infrastructure. And Mayor, you're correct. We're not in the business of building businesses. We're in the business of creating the environment that investors and businesses will want to be here. And our responsibility is to ensure that we have clean streets, we have good stormwater, we have streets that you can ride on that are smooth and not error to transportation or et cetera, good lighting, all of those municipal services that we are ordained to do by our positions. That's our responsibility. And once we create that environment for economic development, then your private investors are more apt to invest in your community. But it's clear that our mission is to build and create a solid infrastructure. And you begin that by going into Tallahassee, going into federal buildings in Washington, D.C., and asking for that funding. But when it's distorted, as some may have heard, you have to have a clearer message to the community about how we fund projects and how those projects come off the shelf. So thanks for that, Mayor. I'm not going to add to my city manager's report. I want to announce that Go Glaze, the bus schedule, we have copies of that in the back room. Go Glaze, if you haven't seen those new buses out in the community, that's the new transportation that Palm Tran had initiated a couple of months ago, about 30 days ago. So I think it's working very well, but I think the schedule has changed somewhat. So if you have an opportunity, stop in the City Hall, pick up a manual for Go Glaze. There's some on the back table, and that'll assist you in understanding the new bus routes here in the city of Pahokee and the Glaze overall. Mayor, you mentioned West Tech. West Tech currently has a new certification program for CNA. They're offering scholarships. So if you know of someone that wants to get certified, I think they even address transportation needs as well. Please go down to West Tech and sign up. They offer scholarships, meaning this is a free education for someone who wants a new career for their future. So please take advantage of that. The city clerk was spotlighted, Mayor Commission, in the Palm Beach Municipal Clerk's annual, is it the annual newsletter? Monthly newsletter. She was spotlighted and recognized for her efforts here as a city clerk, and I just think we need to ensure that we recognize all of our employees when they're recognized beyond the pale of Pahokee and my recognitions that I give them. But when an organization of that caliber recognizes our professional staff, it's something that needs to be mentioned here and everywhere else, because we have a very professional staff. They're dedicated to ensuring that they provide the right services to this community. So publicly, I wanted to thank her for all her hard work. It's not easy stepping into that role as the city clerk, but she's done a wonderful job, and we look forward to many great things for her in the future. So,
and if I could, City Manager, interrupt you at this point, I would just like for this commission and also the audience to give Ms. Clark a round of applause for the job well done.
Mayor, as I previously mentioned in our workshop, our legislative priorities have been submitted into the mill, and I consider the mill, the House, and the Senate's appropriations committees in Tallahassee. We are expecting to be very successful this year. However, we don't know what and how the governor will position his priorities for the state, and that always affects our local budgets priorities. So we have to be in tune to all of our partners with the county and our legislative team that will be going to Tallahassee in March to ensure that our message is clear to Tallahassee what Pahokee needs and overall what the Glades needs. We've been very successful over the years. That is because of the great team that's here and our partners in the county. I don't see a representative from Commissioner Melissa McKinley's office, but Reverend Reese is here for Representative Polsky's office, and she's the House representative here for this district. And so it takes a team effort. And so we're looking forward to this session in 2019. As I said before, we've been very successful. The meetings that I had last week with the governor's budget and policy team and a couple of other representatives with FDOT, we are assured that we have an opportunity to be successful again this year for funding for infrastructure here in the city of Pahokee. But it's not a guarantee. If you know anything about Tallahassee, things change overnight. They can change in a split second when it comes to funding. 1 minute you got appropriations in one committee and it moves it to the next committee and it's deleted. And so that's why we ensure that our lobbyists are paying close attention to our appropriations when we're not there physically in those meetings. So I look forward to this 2019 session. I think it's going to be a good one for the city of Pahokee so far. Mayor, that concludes my report. Monday is a holiday for the city. Will be closed. It's President's Day. And that's a holiday across all of the government entities here in Palm Beach County. So we'll be back to work on that Tuesday morning, 8 a.m.
Thank you, City Manager. At this time, City Commissioners, are there any questions for the City Manager?
Well, I think most, if not all, of my questions were answered during the workshop. I do have one. I will say, admittedly, Mr. Williamson and I did have conversation one-on-one with regards to this question I'm about to ask, but I think it's great for public and just for conversation and dialogue, being that we have persons live and also who view live streaming that could benefit from the information. And it's with regards to raises and bonuses. I know during our financial workshop, we pushed for our employees to get a COLA. Also performance-based raises were discussed and bonuses. Mr. Wilson, would you care to update my fellow commissioners and those who may be watching via live stream and live concerning raises and bonuses?
Cost of living increases were given at Christmas for the entire year, so we covered that. And performance raises are defined when you get an annual review based on the recommendations from your director of that department. If it seeks the need of a raise based on your performance, it's performance-based. But cost of living was covered. Also, the bonuses were also provided as well at the end of the holidays, before the holidays in December.
Okay. Additional question with regards to raises and bonuses. I do have this question with regards to directors. Have they been tasked or told to really inform their employees of changes that may come from top down? And the reason why I'm and in addition to asking that, trying to, one of the things I believe in is respecting confidentiality. And when persons come to me, respecting, creating such a dialogue and relationship that they feel comfortable discussing without feeling as if the cover has been pulled off their concern, because we do live in a close-knit community. So I guess what I'm trying to ask, with department directors, are they giving marching orders that come from this level, and I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence, that are given from this level and maybe from the city manager's office to disseminate that information to their subordinates, so that they're made aware of how performance-based raises are given. And also how how the performance-based raises are given, because you just stated that Christmas, the cost of living was given around Christmas time. Ms. Williams.
All our directors are very clear from our Human Resource Department how to conduct annual evaluations, which is essentially your performance evaluation for your essential duties. We continue to work with our directors to ensure they understand those processes. In turn, our Human Resource Manager has done a very good job of going into the departments and holding those individual meetings with department heads and staff, explaining what that process is. So it's very clear from the top down.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
I have just,
No.
okay, Commissioner
No,
Walker.
you go. You,
Just
so
have
you have
a few
you may
quick
have a
questions.
question.
The exit interviews, Mr. Williamson, I would like to request that the city commission start receiving those. I think I initiated that maybe 5 years ago, could have been even 6. It went back when we had a situation where we lost half of our staffing, and I thought it was good of us to receive the exit interviews. We don't interfere into the day-to-day operations, but it gives us an opportunity to see if there's any trend developing. We know when employees sometimes leave their jobs, they are sometimes dissatisfied. So we have to distinguish between that, but it also allows us to know whether or not they're leaving maybe because of low pay, hostile working environment, or whatever the situation, so we can have some knowledge. So that would be one of my requests, is that we continue or start back receiving the exit interviews. And I know every single employee don't do them, but you certainly encourage them to do it, and you try your best to get it done. So human resources or yourself. In addition to that, we have received the monthly reports. They're now online. We want this city to be a transparent city, so everyone would know where all these dollars going that I keep mentioning is out there. We have received a monthly report, but I think Commissioner Walker had asked for previously an itemized expenditure report dealing with our completed grant project. That means the 1.2 million at the Marina, the 3.5 for East Main, the 550,000 for Commissioner Park. I'm not saying itemize every pencil and pen that was purchased, but give us an overall picture of where the dollars went to complete the individual projects. So I'm putting that request back on the table so that you'll be able to present that to the commission.
You want a presentation or you want the packet? You want the
The
actual?
package would be,
okay.
the package would be fine. Now, the presentation part of it would be our quarterly reports. I think yourself or the financial director on a quarterly basis should give the commission a verbal report. Appreciate the monthly reports that we're now receiving. We are doing financial reports on a quarterly basis, but in addition to the written report, I would like to see a verbal report given to the commission. Third question, a quick question, is the mail tiller sign. I continue as a mayor to keep being asked what is the status, when we would have the unveiling, is there going to be an unveiling of that particular sign?
That was a question?
Yes, sir.
That was in the bi-weekly report I sent out today.
But it's, I don't think the public got a bi-weekly report, so I'm just asking you to share that.
It's in construction. We were working on one picture that they needed high resolution. They just got a high resolution picture. in manufacturing right now.
Okay.
Best I can tell them.
And I mistakenly just thought that initially the sign that I thought we was doing was just a street sign renaming a street after Mel Tillis, and that would have been a green sign, however big, on the
Yeah,
street.
that would have came from FDOT.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought we was ordering. I didn't know we was
No,
ordering one with this.
you would have to go
big
through a
tree.
series of other recommendations to get that done. So the quickest way to recognize, and they weren't going to put a picture on it. Like
No,
we-
I didn't ask for a picture. I didn't think no one asked for that. I just wanted a sign.
Well, we
that
wanted to
named
make it. We didn't just want to put Mel Tillis Boulevard on it. We wanted to make
Correct.
it more attractable when
I
they
think
do
the,
erect it. So.
excuse me for interrupting, but I think the commission at a later date said that they wanted it to be an honorary name of Mel Tillis as
Right.
opposed to actually changing the name.
Right.
So
Right.
the street sign itself wouldn't change. Just the sign indicating this is an honorarily named street.
And we've done the resolution for that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm pushing them to get it out as soon as possible. And I've been, through someone else, we've been contacting the family and letting them know, trying to keep them updated on the status. As I said, we just got a picture that we were trying to get to the company in high resolution. They kept sending them back saying it wasn't high resolution enough, if that's a statement. And so we're working on it. But hopefully by the end of February, it'll be complete. And we can have a little small ceremony for the family members that are available. And I want to do two. So we're going to do the first one on Canal Point, coming from Canal Point, and then we'll figure out how to do this end of town, on Main Street as
Okay.
well.
Thank you. Commissioner Walker, you had a question?
Yes. I would like for us, I would like for, the COLA, what it is, bonuses and the, anyway, it was 3. I would like for us to have a copy of the, a printout for COLA, bonuses and raises.
Want that tomorrow? I have it in your box tomorrow.
I can
put it in your box tomorrow. I ain't gonna do it.
Whenever you do it.
Sure.
It's fine. Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner Walker. Commissioners, are there any additional questions for the city manager?
Oh, I do have one. The Ricky Jackson sign, wasn't that installed off of, was that Muck City?
It's up there temporarily. It's going to be the permanent spot, but we are waiting on some quotes from a couple of vendors because it's going to be bricked in. So that's going to be the permanent location, but we wanted to put it up a little earlier just to let folks know that's going to be the permanent location, but it's going to be bricked in to that location eventually over the next several weeks, probably another month or so.
I saw it leaning.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they didn't put it into that's the mug, so they had to go back out there and put some different legs on it. But we're looking forward to that construction as well. It's not going to cost much.
And not to belabor time, I do have a question with regards to when we get with surtax dollars. I know we had another additional entryway signs that was included in that plan. Are we planning on doing another re-entry sign? Because I remember in one of our last commission meetings, I definitely want us to get away from those signs that are wooden and that gets damaged due to weather and all of that in time. So do we have one of those in the works? And if not, how soon can we?
I don't see us doing another entryway sign until probably maybe summer, after summer. I have other surtax projects I want to address first before I do one on either Canal Point Road or coming over from Old Belglade Road. Subsequently, we don't own those properties. So the one you see over on Bacon Point Road, we own that piece of property. We were able to put that size of a sign up. So it's first I have to ask the property owners, is this okay? And then from there, we'll look at, installing another sign. But there's some other surtax priorities I want to address first.
Yeah, I know there were some issues with regards to Old Belglade Road, but I understand that there are other priorities with regards to surtax dollars, but our signage, definitely needs to be a lot better than we have, and I just wish we can make that a priority as well.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Everett.
I want to ask a question. Will they be individual? I'm talking to the city manager.
Ma'am?
Are you going to individualize the bonuses? Are the, you know what I'm saying?
She
Tell me
want to
the-
break down like
It'll be a
by
list.
name
It'll be- yeah.
and how much they receive.
Yeah, we have that.
Individualize.
Yeah, we have
okay.
that.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back, and thank you, Commissioner Walker, back to our,
But can I ask this, city attorney, is that, and not questioning Commissioner Walker, and I don't want it to look that way. Just for HR purposes, can we get that detail of information?
Yes,
When it
that's all
comes-
public record.
Okay,
so
I just want to
No
make sure.
problems there.
Because I do know in some situations, it's public record when it hits a certain dollar amount with salaries. I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
okay, thank you, Commissioner Everett.
Thank you.
We're going to go back to the presentation of the proclamation for the Pastor James White, but before we do that, I'm going to finish my mayor presentation. I just make it a tradition on Valentine's Day. I know we're 2 days away to just share a little love with our ladies that's in attendance. I failed to get the flowers and the balloons, but I did get the candy. A songwriter once said that this is a man world, but it wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. And this is the time my wife allowed me to present anything to another woman. So I have Commissioner Everett just help me pass these out. Just a small token of love. There's
Yeah,
not-
last year was roses, wasn't it?
I know it was roses.
Getting cheap.
And, I don't want to put the blame, but my assistant didn't get all that done at this time.
Cheap, man.
I hope we got enough. I think at least 20. Again, it's just a small token to the ladies. Appreciate you all so much. Thank you. Appreciate everything you all do.
Thank you.
Well, man, they're already on social media
If
now.
you got any extra, the beans can take these and give it to us.
Already on social media. Now you're giving me no reason to say it.
That, they can give us.
My baby, get out of here.
I hope so. No, I'm good. I'm gonna go right here. I had to come out here early today though, so I'm running low on that.
Now, if we would, I will ask the city commission to join me down in front of the podium, and we will present Pastor James White with his proclamation.
That's right. Professional photographer.
That's spotlight.
Yeah, that's right. Can't mess with it.
Pastor James White, if you and your wife would come up, please. And actually, we just notified the pastor of this presentation this afternoon, really late. I was surprised he was able to come out and accept this in person. but if not, we're certainly gonna do it at our next commission meeting, but we have the opportunity to do it now. Pastor James White, on behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, Vice Mayor Clara Mervin, Commissioner Diane Walker, Commissioner Benny Everett III, Commissioner Felicia Hill, along with our city manager Chandler Williamson, and our entire city staff, along with the mayor. It is such an honor and privilege to present this proclamation of tribute of appreciation to you for all your services, not only to your local church, but this entire community. I know you have presented yourself and provided the keynote address for our Martin Luther King celebration and so many other events in this city. Anytime there's a need that we need you, you're always there for us. And this is just a token of our appreciation. We read the proclamation out in the public prior to your arrival. We're going to have our vice mayor actually present this to you and read the proclamation in public again. Vice Mayor Mervin. You want Commissioner Everett? Okay, Commissioner Hill.
Okay, I want to present this proclamation to you, Pastor White, and with your wife included. Whereas Reverend James W. White has faithfully pastored in the United Missionary Baptist Church for 20 successful years, and whereas the first pastorage, if I'm saying anything wrong, please, guys, don't get on Facebook and say it, but pastorage began in Bryan, Florida, on the premises of United States Sugar Corporation, where housing in a church were made available for laborers to live and worship. When the corporation decided to close the village and the church for further use, the United Missionary Baptist Church moved to Pahokee to continue their worship within our fair city. And where the pastor, Reverend White, has chosen to be president of the Pahokee Canal Point Ministerial Alliance, where he led pastors of this community in coming together for the betterment of our citizens, and whereas Reverend White has overseen numerous farm share giveaways and has led city revivals where churches and pastors throughout the city have joined together with their congregation to show unity in the community. And whereas Reverend White has led in the political arena by taking a stand to support candidates that would enhance the livelihood of the citizens of Pahokee. Now therefore, the city commission of the city of Pahokee, Florida, do hereby pay tribute to Reverend White, Reverend James W. White, for 20 years of dedication and service rendered to United Missionary Baptist Church in this community. Thank you for your honorable position in helping to make our city become the city of choice that we envision it to be. Done this 12th day of February 2019 by Mayor Keith Babb, Vice Mayor Clara Mervin, Commissioner Benny Everett, myself, and Commissioner Diane Walker. Thank you so much.
We'll get a photo op and allow Pastor White to say a few words. Pastor White.
I would just like to say thank you all very much for seeing the need and the pride that's associated with that. I receive it from you all with a heartfelt thank you, and pray that God enables me to continue to be that to this community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good.
All right, I'll wrap it up.
Now we'll have our report by our city attorney, Brandon Bird.
Mr. Mayor, the city previously decided to establish an audit committee that's required by Florida statutes 218. The city has advertised for interested individuals to serve on that committee, and I believe you have in front of you the resume of two such persons, Angela Pope and Corey Miller.
So those are the two that we have to,
Those are two that have submitted names.
the two,
And you can really appoint anyone you want on
Okay.
your audit committee.
okay, those are, okay.
Including the manager and including the commissioner if you desire to do so, and other people in the community.
So let's take care of the two appointments first, and we can consider whether or not we want to appoint some additional persons on this committee. As you're aware, at our last commission meeting, we kind of deferred this to allow citizens an opportunity to submit an application if they was interested in serving on this committee. And Commissioner Everett had suggested that, so that's what we did. We now have two applicants before us, and what is your pleasure, City Commissioners?
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, I want to repeat that. I was about to ask. Could you-
We're intending to appoint two citizens to serve on the audit committee. We have two applicants here in front of us. I would recommend that since we only have two, we go ahead and appoint those two, and then after that, we'd like to consider whether we want to appoint additional persons to that board, whether it's the city manager, one of us, or someone from the community.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in the board, I would like to offer a motion that we entertain these two names that have been submitted to us for consideration.
For the record, would you?
Name Corey Miller, first applicant, second applicant name Angela Pope.
I noticed one of them says contingent upon approval by PNC, so I think, okay.
Yeah, she indicated if she had to get, just for ethics clearance, but she said it shouldn't
Oh,
be a
I'm sorry,
problem.
I'm
Carry the
sorry,
motion.
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly second by Vice Mayor Mervin that we accept the two applicants here, Corey Miller and Angela Polk, for our audit committee. Call for questions.
Question? Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go ahead. You may answer.
Okay, one of my questions, I do know Mrs. Pope, and I won't piggyback off the question that I think Commissioner Hill has, but that's not my main question. Concern here is Corey Miller. Who is he?
Corey Miller is an accountant. He has his business on the edge of town on East Main Street going out of town. He does a lot of the taxes here for a lot of residents here in the city of Pahokee. But he's a very reliable source for understanding accounting and auditing. He's been in the business for over 30 years. So good application there to have.
'Cause I didn't know. Also, my additional question would be, I'm glad for that background information. My second question is, how many persons going to sit on this committee?
It's unlimited. I mean, we're sort of in a time crunch because we got to get an RFP on the street for our new auditor, if there is going to be a new auditor, based on who submits. You certainly can appoint the finance director, which I recommend, and the COD director, Community Economic Development Director, who oversees all of our RFPs. You can select whoever you want, really, but I would recommend at minimum the finance director, maybe a commissioner as well, along with these two individuals should suffice.
Wouldn't the financial director kind of be ad hoc?
Not really, because she understands what an audit is required from the city, so they need her expertise, so we can sort of walk through those processes of what we need from an auditor. So it's imperative that she serves on that committee as well.
Well, I have a recommendation that I'll be submitting.
Thank you, sir. In addition to questions, hearing none, Huh?
He answered my question.
Okay. Commissioner Hill, did you add a
No
question?
questions.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Hearing no additional questions, are you ready for vote?
I would like to, let me also throw a name, Catherine.
Again, this motion right now is for the two appointments.
Oh, okay.
After we take care of that, we're gonna do the
You're not gonna
additional
move up.
appointment.
Okay. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
In additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The two applicants, Corey Miller and Angela Polk, has been unanimously appointed to the Audit Committee. Now we would entertain additional appointments from the Commission. Commissioner Everett.
Mr. Mayor, when are we going to hear, Mr. Williamson, a definitive answer from Ms. Pope? Because I see here a little note that says contingent upon approval by PNC.
I spoke with her today. She said probably within the next 24 hours, 36 hours, we should know. So
Okay.
by the next commission meeting, we'll have a clear answer.
Okay, I guess, is she trying to see if that would, her appointment would pose a conflict of interest?
Correct. She didn't think there will be because, of, all of our accounts are at PNC. So she didn't think it was going to be. She has to go through those protocols of asking permission.
Okay.
But she didn't anticipate any issues at all.
Okay. I do have a recommendation. Citizen expressed an interest. Was pretty highly active within our meetings. Catherine Marvez. I would like to recommend her.
Okay. Any other from the Commission? I also would like to suggest that we follow the city manager recommendation at least appointing the finance director and the director of community development. Again, it's not a limit on the number we can appoint, but I think those two would be appropriate appointment for our audit committee.
Who that man?
Can I go
The
ahead? Can I go
finance
ahead and at least,
director
yeah.
and the community development director.
I'll do the director, but I'll make a motion to appoint director of finance. I'd like to make a motion to appoint director of finance for her. So that way she would be involved in that process.
Can we lump that in one motion?
But are you making a motion for the Director of Finance
Oh.
and economic, and also?
Yes,
Marvez?
it's no limit on it.
Okay.
We can have as large a committee
So you wanna make a
normally.
motion for all three, that was the name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then if anyone else have any other nomination for consideration, they can do it at this time also.
Okay.
In addition to name other than those three. Okay, we're closing at the said three names. Call for questions.
You need
Yes, sir.
to make two full names of these staff.
Okay. Given, since you made the motion, are you making them for both or just the finance director?
Both. I
Okay.
think they need to be a
Just
part of the
state their
process.
names.
Okay. Wait a minute, I can't go. Batista Francis and Sophia Nelson.
Okay.
And also Catherine Marvez.
Right.
Okay. So Commissioner Everett, if you would just put the motion for all three in a motion.
Okay, can you pass me the?
Catherine.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to offer a motion that we add to our audit committee, Mrs. Batista Francis, Mrs. Sophia Nelson, and Ms. Catherine Marvez to our audit committee.
Can I get a second?
He's not second.
Okay, been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly second by Vice Mayor Mervin for the three said names to our for our audit committee. Call for questions. Hearing none. Ready for roll? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Walker?
Yes.
Mayor Bab?
Yes. Thank you.
Mayor, Commissioner, I will push this committee to get formulated fairly quickly because we have to put an RFP on the street for a new auditor, and I'm also working with an external review from the Inspector General's office to ensure that we're in compliance. So you'll see this committee move very rapidly to get up and running because they have to do the scoring of whoever responds to that RFP, and kind of behind the curve now. So I'll try to push to get this committee formulated as quickly as possible so we can begin assessing, putting the RFP on the street. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question, please. I have a question. I just want to know, attorney, or either, do the person has to be a resident, a citizen? I just want to know for clarification.
I don't believe that there's a residential requirement for an audit committee.
Okay, thank you. I just want it on a record. They don't. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney, you may continue with your report.
Thank you, Mayor. I provided a memo as requested regarding the powers and duties of the city manager and city clerk. That's in your backup. Should any of the commissioners have any questions about that, you can certainly give me a call at your leisure. I'd be happy to discuss it with you. The next item is the Techno Marine lawsuit. I obtained a final judgment against Techno Marine, so we are going to now be pursuing collection of that judgment. The only other lawsuit that we have going on right now is the Perez lawsuit, and we're still preparing for trial on that matter. I believe that's all the things I have to report on, unless you have any questions for me.
For clarity, with Techno Marine, you're saying that you received final judgment and we're in the process of pursuing collection?
Yes, sir.
The 150?
125,000.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
For transparency, the lawsuit pertaining to the Perez, what's that's in reference to for the public?
That's in reference to the lease at 246, I believe, Main Street, from the city to, it's actually not Perez, it's Okeechobee Land Company, which is owned by the Perez family. And they have claimed that they had a option to purchase it, and that the city would not honor the option, and consequently they had to move out and were damaged, and are seeking damages against the city for that.
Thank you, City Attorney. And we'll continue with our agenda items. On the old business, the Marina lease update. I know there was a meeting earlier today. City Attorney, if you can update us.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we had an excellent meeting today with Everglades Holding. And the purpose of that meeting was to iron out any final wrinkles with respect to the lease agreement, so that the city will be in the posture to move ahead quickly on it once the Board of Trustees approves the transaction, which I now understand is scheduled for April 2nd. So hopefully and I think, I'm very positive that we'll be moving ahead on that transaction very quickly. And of course, the goal is to have the facility up and running, as well as the restaurant up and running, as soon as possible.
Thank you, City Attorney.
Do you care, City Attorney, to help clear up? I know in the workshop we discussed some topics that possibly help clear up some misnomers as it relates to the marina. One being the water bill, because a lot of misinformation surfaced the city with regards to the water bill, the amounts, what have you. Just the whole nuances around the water bill. Also, issues with regards to making sure that we're satisfying DEP requirements with sewage. I know that I was informed that that issue had been mitigated. Can we also address possible issues regarding the deck? You know, I know that was one of question and concern, and also it was discussed about water connections not being operational because of a looming water bill.
Okay, sir. Yes, I can address those for you. With respect to the water bill, as I explained in the workshop, the Palm Beach County water system charges what they call a base facilities fee, or readiness to serve fee, which is a certain amount charged for each meter that's installed on any facility, whether it's commercial or residential. Well, there's 112 meters up at Marina. So over the years, since the county took operation over of the water system, the bills for the Marina accumulated, because of that base facilities charge, up to a total of $265,000. We went back to the county and we designated the periods of time where those amounts were not the responsibility of the city, but were the responsibility of previous tenants. So they agreed that they would delete those from the city's account. So the bottom line is, for past water bills, the city owes $140,000, which will have to be paid by the city. So in that regard, I would recommend that the city contact the county and see what arrangements can be made for that. The leasee under our proposed transaction will not be charged for any past bills. That will be the responsibility of the city.
And as you stated, just for clarity, to make sure I understood you correctly, you said that those bill amounts that accrued, that happened under previous tenants and not directly by the city itself?
Both.
Both, okay.
Okay, there were periods of time that we had no tenants, and under the county system, those charges accrue whether you're using water or not. Even if the campground was closed, those charges would accrue. The theory behind it is that, and the reason the county has that charge, is that so many of our residents are not here year-round. But the county has to provide all the facilities to produce the water for all those residents, even though they're not here. So the county charges a base facilities charge each month, so that folks that aren't even here have to pay for the capacity that the county has built for them. So that's the theory behind it. On the DEP issue, that issue has been resolved. DEP has inspected the facility and indicated that there is no longer a problem with it. And they have reported that to the Division of State Lands, and that's why the Division of State Lands is moving ahead quickly with the recommendations and the item that's going to go to the governor and cabinet. On deck issues, with regard to the deck is pretty much completed. There's a few things left to be done. Now, we have a divergence of opinion about how the supporting columns were supposed to be built. Almost on any project, you have somebody that's going to say, you know, you should have done it some other way. Well, it's done now. It looks great. And we're going to be moving forward with the lease. And I think that issue is behind us. What else? The water connections up at the campground. One of the previous tenants, when faced with the issue of having these monthly charges at the campground, decided, well, I'll cut the water line so that only half of the campground is capable of having water, and thereby cut the amounts that the county was charging on a monthly basis. That was the theory anyways. The county, on the other hand, says, no, it doesn't matter if you cut the line or not. We still have all that capacity that we have to have available for you. You're gonna get charged anyways. So, there is a cut in the water line up at the campground that needs to be located and repaired. And we're hoping that that is an easy job that's going to be able to be done quickly. I think that answers all your questions.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, City Attorney. At this time, I would entertain a motion from the commission that we direct our city manager and staff to work out an agreement with the Palm Beach County Water Utility Department to pay the back or rearage of our debt. Something that we can live with and the county can live with, but we need to begin that process of eliminating that debt that we owe to the county.
Mr. Mayor, if I'm in order, I would like to offer a motion directing the city manager and city staff to begin conversations with the plan with the county in resolving the $140,000 debt that we have with regards to our bill. I know with regard to the bill. Also, understanding that our work is contingent on how rapid the county is working with us, but can we also have an update with regards to how that plan is moving forward by our next commission meeting on the 26th?
Thank you, sir. Entertain a second.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am. It has been moved by Commissioner Everett and properly seconded by Vice Mayor Mervin that we direct our city manager and staff to devise a plan and to repay the debt to Palm Beach County Water Utility and to provide us with an update at our next commission meeting. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, thank you, City Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we would move to our citizen comments and general concerns. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any comments cards by our citizens?
Yes, one from Miss Margaret Smart.
Mayor Bab and Commissioners, my name is Margaret Smart. I live at 997 Becca Point Road. There is a yard sale that goes on continuously every week and sometimes 2 and 3 times a week on Beckham Point Road. And my question is, how many times are they allowed to have one, and have they paid their permit?
City Manager, could you address the
I
frequency of
can
the
answer
yard
that question
sale?
unless I know who it is, and I can go back and consult with staff and see. But I don't know. I can answer that question tonight without knowing who it is and what address, and asking staff if did they get their annual permit for yard sales. I do know that yard sales are only permitted.
It's the Lavender House, right? That house that's painted lavender. I know the address.
No.
I do know our ordinance call for yard sales, garage sales to happen 8 to 4 p.m. on Saturdays only. So if that's being, if that's occurring on weekdays, then I have to get code enforcement to address that. What's the address?
I will find it out and get it to you tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
But they are having it on Wednesdays and Sundays every once in a while. Not every week, but they are every week on Saturdays. And also, I would like to have the code enforcement check on this. They are bringing in things by. I have seen a cube truck, or I believe that's what you call them, box truck. I've seen 2 pickups, one red and one black. They unload on Saturday morning between 6 and 6:30, and they pick up between 4 and 6 on, depending on how well things are going, on Saturday afternoon. And it's not just there. I mean, if it's a yard sale, isn't it supposed to be that yard sale? Can they bring other things in, have other people deliver to them?
Yes, ma'am. There's no code of ordinance that prevents anyone from bringing something into someone's home to be sold. There's no law against that.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. City Clerk, are there any additional comments, Carl?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, at this time, we will move to the correspondence, comments, and concern of the city commissioners. And we will start with Commissioner Hill, and before Commissioner Hill gets started, now I won't even mention that at this point. I just want you to be mindful of the time, though. We're doing very good. Our goal is to get out of here within 2 hours if possible. So I think we're on track to do that. Commissioner Hill.
Well, I'll make mine very brief. I just want to congratulate our city clerk again, Narlene. She's very humble and very much so a team player. She always has been, very, very much. And I'd like to just thank everyone for being here tonight, just so our citizens can see that and witness that this commission has a purpose. We all do, and the importance of the process. And just thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I know that's right.
He even like that quick
Exactly.
answer and response. Okay, Commissioner Walker.
You're welcome.
My question is to, how are we going to address the city clerk position, or give me an update on that?
For the city commission, we have a decision at some point. Our city clerk is designated as an interim city clerk. We need to evaluate and see whether or not we want to permanently appoint her. I think at one point we did put it out for applicants to at least apply to see what response we would get from that. I'm not sure of the status of that, but Commissioner Walker, have a valid question. Yes. We got something pending on the table. We need to take care of it at some point so we can move on.
Do you want your mic down? Do you want your mic down?
It's on. Okay.
Any comments from the commission, how you want to proceed? I'm not saying we need to do it now, but at some point, we really need to look at that to see if we're gonna appoint her as the permanent clerk, or we're gonna open it up for competitive interviews.
Mayor, we've already done that, and we didn't get a response, so we closed that. My recommendation would be to come back at the next commission meeting and make a motion to make Ms. Clark our permanent city clerk.
Again, that's a recommendation of the city manager, but the city commission, again, have the final say-so authority of what we decide to do. So if there's no...
Well, I would just say this. I think it would kind of be hypocritical for us to celebrate her successes and then not give consideration to her for the position. I will say this, but from the very beginning, so that I won't appear to be disingenuous and remain consistent with what I said from the beginning, I did push for an open process in terms of applying, not challenging the city manager or city staff. Just kind of find it very mind-boggling that we didn't get a response, considering workforce issues within our Glades community. I'm not there to bird dog whether or not applications are coming in or not, but but that decision don't rest with just me, but it rests within the body of this commission. I think she's doing a great job. We just celebrated her successes. I just like, perception does shape and form person's reality. And so I just wanted to make sure that we were not staging a hiring process, but that we're being fair straight across the board, because I know how it is having pursued a master's degree and then go to interviews in the back of your mind, knowing that people already had in their minds who they want to hire anyway. So that was my position from the very beginning, that we had a fair, open process and made a selection from there. But we've had her for such a long time that she's become a staple with us, and I guess that decision would rest with the commission at our next meeting.
I also concur with everything you said, and I also concur that our city clerk, our intern clerk, is doing an outstanding job, and I would certainly support and recommend her hiring in light of the fact we did put it out for applicants to apply. No one applied.
And wonderful way to promote within.
Great. So we'll do that. We'll make that decision at our next city commission meeting.
Can we also let the workforce, did we go with the workforce for, hello?
Yeah.
I'm talking to you. Have we went through workforce for
The advertisement?
yes.
Yes, ma'am. We advertise it on
To
our website,
workforce?
Palm Beach Post, on Indeed, our workforce. Yes, we cover, HR cover all those bases.
Okay, I just want to know.
It's okay.
With
Commissioner Everett.
Commissioner Everett.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we gotta put it on the agenda for next week. I mean next meet. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Other thing, I want to recommend and ask for us to honor our charter officers with pictures and everything that they can allow to do as charter officer. That Mr. Brandenburg, the city clerk, Ms. Clark, they're charter officer, and we should recognize them as such. So I make a motion, I make that motion that we accept them as charter officers and include in the pictures.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So that's a motion.
I'll second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Walker and properly seconded by Commissioner Everett that we properly recognize our charter officers. And I imagine that would include a picture in City Hall.
That's right.
With their
Thank you.
heading of their office. Call for questions. Hearing none. Are you ready for vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Walker,
Yes.
Commissioner Everett,
Yes?
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes by unanimous vote. Commissioner Walker, do that
I think
include?
I'm Go ahead. I think I'm finished.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Everett.
I will say, Mr. Mayor, my fellow commissioners, city staff, citizens, both present and live streaming, I do want to say that it is definitely my duty and privilege serving you as your representative. However, it's with a great deal of emotion that I address you this evening regarding issues and concerns that I feel is impacting our community. I wholeheartedly believe that most, if not all, citizens of this great community have within them a heart and desire to see our city, the Grassy Water Gateway to Lake Okeechobee, thrive and become the beacon of light and hope of the Glades. But in order for us to be this thriving community, we must get there together. There's a book that I read that not only guides my life, but also reveals and convicts me of my human proclivities and frailties, that states that a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. I'm fully aware that there are a number of persons who seeks to lead this city, bursting with potential and greatness, resulting to insults, lies, and the belittlement of other candidates in order to prove their fitness and ability for the seat that they are running for. Considering the method to their madness, coupled with how the state of American politics negatively informs and impacts the way other elected officials and aspiring politicians participate in campaign initiatives. For tweets have replaced press conferences. Insults have replaced constructive dialogue with people who have opposing viewpoints. And Facebook Live videos have replaced the State of the City address. Painstakingly, I am wrestling with a decision that could possibly mark me as an unpopular and could be considered a political suicide attempt. However, I must stay true to my convictions and be willing to stand for what I believe is right, even if it requires that I must stand alone. But there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor politic nor popular, but must take it because his conscience tells him it is right. With that being said, I am very concerned, and my support is wavering with regards to Everglades Reserve Holding LLC as an investor in our city. I do not agree with how it appears, and I will say that parenthetically, that they have involved themselves within the small town politicking, whether directly or indirectly, via Facebook or private text, using the highest form of vulgarity. My wavering support does not mean that I'm closed to constructive dialogue, but it does mean that I will not support under any circumstance puerile antics and childish chatter before the Facebook bandits and social media thugs take off with their insults and commentary. I would like to call their attention to the Florida statute regarding defamation of character and libel and the criminal consequences that follows. Mayor, that ends my comments for tonight.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Mervin, you have the last word.
I only just have one question for the city manager. I know at the last GTAC meeting, they went over, just for clarity to the citizens, the speed bump issue with Seville and El Dorado. The updates on that from the county.
As you know, these two streets are the responsibility of the county. The last I heard from Houston Tate that they were developing a signature format for all the citizens, all the residents that live on these two streets. And then once that's obtained, of course, that's not our responsibility, it's the county's. They have already appropriated the funds for these speed bumps, and then they'll be installing them thereafter. They didn't provide a timeline succinctly on when that would occur. I can certainly follow up with Houston Tate in his office and get a more clear lens on where they'll be starting that construction or installation of those speed bumps.
And I spoke with him this morning at West Tech, and he indicated to me that that process was proceeding at a rapid pace, and they will, at some point, reinstall the speed bumps out there.
Got his signature.
Yes, sir.
That's it for me. Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good night, everyone.
Meeting adjourned. Well said, Commissioner. I wanted to have you repeat that, but due to time,